You got two T-16000Ms. I feel like your directional one is incredibly hard to aim with. The reason for that is because there is a strong centering mechanism in the T-16000M. It makes it difficult to do precise aiming with. So let's demonstrate this again. It's time for another show and tell with BadNewsBaron. This is the failing of the T-16000M. Is it's not meant for space flight at all. It's good that it can be configured to be left or right-handed. Like right now, the thumb grips are set up so it's naturally left-handed. All right. So the things to consider when choosing a joystick. Let's move me back up a little bit. Last week, on this edition, we talked about how we use this for strafing controls and all that stuff, which is nice when, you know, you're going in one direction gradually and then it hard auto centers. This is it's a very hard auto center. It does not flop around at all. Good. Hooray. You've got this big detent in the center where it snaps back and then moves. And it takes a lot of force to get it out of center, which means that if you want to do very, very precise movements in the middle, you can't. It's gonna lock up. You're gonna have a hard time. This is one of the reasons why I'm so excited about the current joystick I'm using. I don't know how well I can. Screw it. It doesn't matter. All right. Okay. So I've broken my pod now. So there's a T-16000M which hard centers, and then there's this one which is a little bit floppy. It's quite a bit floppy actually. A little bit of a floppy joystick, right there. But this uses a different centering mechanism. So instead of having springs or whatever else that might make a lock back really, really hard, it has a sort of internal cam mechanism where there's little metal parts that are sliding over each other, so it very smoothly sort of rotates. So I have extremely fine, overly fine actually, because I have to set dead zones for myself. Control or the very, very center. If I wanted to, I could really up the sensitivity and control the entire ship using just this little motion. It's like having a hair trigger kind of. It's really, really good. This is a super high-end joystick. You don't need to spend $350 on a joystick unless you're a super, super, super crazy hobbyist, insane person who plays games for a living. Like don't live your life like me, is what I'm saying. But the same sort of principles apply. Is you want to find something that's not very hard in the center. So, on that note, the X55 from Saitek, the X56 I think as well, both have springs in the center. This doesn't have a spring, but normally there's a spring right here that would sit below the joystick, and you can swap those out for either lighter or heavier springs to make it more centering or less centering. This one actually has some internal springs as well, but they operate in a different fashion. So I can swap it out for more centering or less centering as well. That's also, you know, something good to consider. That's actually an advantage over the X52 Pro, I would say. That was a pretty good advantage over it. The Warthog as well has a spring, but it doesn't have variable springs. So what you can do if you have a Warthog is you can compress or trim the internal spring that rests inside the base of the joystick. And some people like clip those. What I did is I taped down the bottom couple of coils and just made the spring shorter as a whole. That way it wasn't a permanent fix. That's what I used to do. You want fine control at the center. This is why when you really get into like the flight control hobbyist stuff, especially in a space sim where you're doing most of your maneuvering at the very, very, very center, it starts to become sort of challenging and expensive. But yeah, that's why the Thrustmaster T-16000M is not necessarily a great joystick for aiming. I would maybe get a different stick, even like an old like Cyborg or something like that, for your right hand. Something with twist would be ideal. Unless you want to get pedals. In which case, get whatever the hell you want. Good? Solid? Everybody understand?